Welcome back to our Hello G20. We're still airing live from Bali with me, Stephanie Silitonga, and my partner,
Rahmat Idris. What a day we're having. We've been talking a lot of interesting topics throughout this morning, and yet another trip to a gorgeous tourism village here in Bali will be presenting to you. And you know, in Bali, wherever we go, there's no short stock or availability of beautiful beaches. But this particular tourism village will have such pristine water, gorgeous white sanded beaches, and also beautiful underwater attractions. And most importantly, when you visit this village, you will see the harmony and such warm and graceful hospitality of its people. And most importantly, this is just the place to unwind. Let's just take you there. This is a feature report on the beautiful tourism village of Penglipuran here in Bali. Take a look.
Each region or village has its own historical story behind it, usually written either in papyrus, chronicles, and inscriptions. The Penglipuran traditional village also has its own story to be told. Penglipuran traditional village is one of the neighborhoods of Kubu village, where the village's population mostly comes from Bayung Gede village, Kintamani district, Dati Regency in Bali. During the era of Bali Kingdom, residents of Bayung Gede village were often assigned by the King of Bali to participate in war and other activities relating to the kingdom. Because Bayung village is far from the location of the kingdom, the king then was given a place at Penglipuran traditional village that makes easy for him to perform activities. Originally mentioned in the inscription, the Penglipuran traditional village was called Kubu Bayung, which means Pondok Bayung Gede. Over time, villagers built a village in the neighborhood with Kahyangan Tiga, or 3 temples, called Pusat Temple.
G20 is an international forum comprising 19 countries and the European Union that work together to handle major issues. Indonesia is holding the presidency of the grouping this year, held in Bali from November 15th and 16th.
Yeah, Stephanie, hotels in Bali's Badung Regency declared ready to accommodate an estimated 50,000 delegates and participants traveling to Bali in connection with the G20 summit. And for more details, we are here joined by the Vice Chairman of PHRI, or that is Hotels and Restaurants Associations of Bali Province, Mr. Ida Bagus Siddhartha Putra. Mr. Ida Bagus, thank you very much for joining us virtually. We are very sorry that you cannot join us here in studio due to some technical and restrictions at the venue, but we thank you very much for joining us from wherever you are.
Thank you for having us as a Hotel and Restaurant Association. Thank you so much.
Right, Mr. Ida Bagus, as we mentioned at the beginning that hotels in Bali are ready to welcome thousands upon thousands of delegates coming in.
Indeed.
Yeah, and arriving today, our heads of states, presidents and prime ministers. From your perspectives, are we 100% ready, or do we need to smooth out some small details and iron out all the requests from the security and the high-ranking officers?
Well, as stated by our minister as well from the Marine and Enhancement, that we are ready to welcoming all the participants. But of course, we also are improving all the details. So we hope that the G20 summit event will be successful held in Bali.
Yeah, we want to know like how many hotel rooms Bali currently have, and also how many star-rated hotel in operations currently.
Currently in Bali, we have about 4,500 hotels. and about 600 are star rated, and almost 4,000 are non-star rated, including the homestay, the villas, and those kind of stuff. From these numbers, I think Bali are chosen to be part of the G20 because the readiness of the supplies of the room and also the supplies of the hotel itself. The total room that Bali has is around 130,000, and about 75,000 they are star rated, and the rest about 55,000 are the non-star rated hotels in Bali for right now.
Yeah, Mr. Ida, what's the details that we have on the internationally changed hotels managed by internationally changed as well?
Since Bali is the state of tourism of Indonesia, many hotel operators from the international chains hotel, around 30 chains hotel, we have it in Bali established, including the Ritz-Carlton, they are the best Four Seasons, West Point, Star Point, and everything. So we running around. We have about 30 chains international hotel in Bali right now, and basically all are located, mostly are located in the south Bali, Badung, where the G20 are concentrated right now, Denpasar, and also in Gianyar.
Right. Mr. Ida, if we look back into 2020 and 2021, when we see like the sector, the tourism sector was very, very, like impacted by the pandemic. Yeah. So now with this, with this event, this summit, the great event, this one. So in terms of business and employment, how was in 2020 and then 2021 during the COVID pandemic, how was it impacted? How bad was the situation back then?
When we look back on the pandemic era, about 2.5 years, the situation it's very, very bad in Bali. The business are dropped about 90%, which means there are no revenues, but still have to pay the check, pay the bills and everything. And I think it's the worst case in our history. No event can equivalent with what the pandemic has been infecting us. Not the bombing, not the disaster. So this is the worst in history that we have. And among the all in Indonesia, all the province, I think Bali is the worst economic performance. The Bank Indonesia said the economic construction is Bali economic construction is the deepest among other province in Indonesia. So situation are very bad, and no businesses, and including the employment also. Some of the hotel are reducing their employment. They might keep about 30%, not counting the social impact, the cultural, the social distancing, also giving a lot of impact. A lot of people distressed because no revenue, but have to pay some of the bill, the electric bill and everything, the schools and everything. It's the worst case scenario. I mean, bad, very bad last time. Yeah.
Right, Mr. Ida Bagus, from the data that PHRI has, do you have any analysis in the span of 2022 to 2021? Any hotels that had to be closed down? And also, is there any of the start hotels that are within the numbers of the closed down hotels?
With the business drop 90% of the tourism in Bali, mostly hotel are closed. 90% hotel are closed at the time. The bigger the hotel, the star-rated hotel are bigger than non-star, suffered the most. For example, I'm running 3 hotels. I have to close 2 of the hotels, and then I think also friends of us closed down their hotel. Star-rated hotel, non-star-rated hotel, when there's no business, we have to close it down. And this is what happened last time for the last 2.5 years in Bali. 90% drop, meaning more than 90% of the hotel are closed at the time.
Yeah, so any international hotel management company exited actually from Indonesia due to the coronavirus pandemic.
We don't see that any trend about that, or even they might not report it to the association of the PHRI, the hotel and restaurant. But if they are the case, it's a very small numbers. One or two hotels might be because of the expiration of the contract. Maybe the owner want to change the operators, but mostly because of the pandemic. It's very small numbers that international chains hotel exited from Indonesia, especially in Bali, because they still have a confidence that if the Bali is coming back again, those hotels can profit the most as well, because they're international, they have a change, they have the market share. So when the business coming back, they start to open again right now.
Was there any incentive from the part of the government, Mr. Ida Bagus, during the time of the pandemic to sort of help our hotels to sustain?
Yes, we do have some incentive from the central government. There's a couple of aids for our laborers, and also some reduction of the tax and penalty for the tax and penalty. Some of the area like Gianyar and Denpasar waive all the penalty about if they postpone the taxes and everything. The government of Bali connecting us a lot to gain some of the fund, what we call the Pemulihan Ekonomi Nasional or Recovery Fund. We are urged with a small rates of a loan just to able to survive, and the government also help us to connecting us with the bank or the financial institution for the loan restructures. With this, we really need that when there's no revenue. But we have to pay the cost. Of course, we need a fresh funding on that case. So this government, from the central government, province government, including the city or the regencies, is not always giving the incentive in financial, but also they help us to connect with any institution, including the ministries in the central government.
Right. Mr. Ida Bagus, you mentioned that during the time of the pandemic, around 90% of hotels in Bali had to be closed down. Does this number also reflect the amount of job losses and the massive layoffs that we see in the news here in Bali for this particular hospitality industry?
We're trying to not to fire or lose our employment. This is our moral responsibility toward our people itself. But we have to manage it. We have to keep only 30% of our employment. We rotate the shift. We cannot because the hotel is closed. Some hotel are open but fill up with only 1% of the occupancy, below 5%. So of course we have to reduce the employment. First, we have to cut off the training and the daily workers. Secondly, we have to shrink the numbers of our permanent employment. But some of them are asking for the resign as well. So that's why when we cannot fire them, meaning we have to use this 30% and rotate them. Perhaps they go to work for a week and also off for the 3 weeks. So meaning we want to keep them, but it's a tough situation at the time.
Right, Mr. Ida, how has the tourist industry in Bali, tourism sector in Bali has been recovered so far?
We tried to survive for 2 years with the domestic market because the international border are closed. The restriction to coming to Indonesia, to Bali, are also very restricted. we can see the rebounds, the coming back of Bali tourism when they start open the international borders, which is on March 2022. Since then, the pouring the Australian coming to Bali, it helps the businesses, some of the European, and then the government also lift up some of the restriction or adding numbers for the country who can have a visa to enter to Indonesia, to Bali, as well as the airlines are adding up the route of the airline all over the world coming up. So this is really a big boost for Bali when the international borders are open. But before that, we're trying to live with the domestic market. From domestic market is giving us a lot of help as well. Don't get me wrong, but it's not enough. It's seasonal, sometimes only for the mice when the holiday, public holiday like Ramadan or school holiday, yes, we gain something. But Bali State Tourism, all the establishment in basement need a consistent travelers to coming in. So we are can see a significant return of Bali tourism when the borders are open. And plus the event that coming in after all, including the G20. I think this is a good step for speeding up recovery of Bali, including Indonesia and overall.
All right. Mr. Ida, fast
Yes.
forward 2 years, a little over 2 years after the pandemic. I remember distinctly mid this year when the headline was saying that the tourism number, the tourist number to incoming to Bali increased a little over 1,000%. And that was in line with a number of international events, including the United Nations event here in Nusa Dua, Bali. And that was a pivotal moment when we realized that Bali is back on its feet. So what message would you like to tell the world in terms of welcoming and welcoming back our tourists to Bali?
Well, we eager to see them. I think they also get bored in their country after the lockdown. So meaning that Bali is ready to welcoming all the travelers coming back again to Bali. We have been learning a lot about from the past, what we should do improve, and also what we should do avoiding. And from this G20, if we can have a successful event, I think the trust to coming back to Bali again will be more and more. So please come to Bali again. We are ready to serve you. We are ready to be part of your journey in traveling, either leisure or business in Bali.
Right, right. Echoing on what you said, Mr. Ida Bagus, is that we're very happy to see that all of these numbers are rising and enthusiasts have returned. Although some countries are still closed, like China, the visitations to other countries, to Bali, for example, is not entirely open yet. They're still going in a bubble. But looking forward, how do you see this trend will keep on going? Because, as we know, in Europe, for example, and other nations as well, things have returned basically to normals. But here we're still counting our numbers. Cases are sometimes reported still in the countries. How have adjustments been made in terms of the hospitality industries in Indonesia amidst all of these changes? Bangkok, for example, in October has downgraded COVID-19 as a regular flu. We haven't done that yet. So adjustments in hotel, how have we progressed so far?
Well, many things has been adjusted regarding the shifting of the market itself. We're seeing now a new and young travelers coming in. Of course, the requirement of them are different than regular guests or travelers that we had before. We changed the price, we changed the product a little bit. We shifting it, we aligned them, we improved perhaps the food to the more to the wellness, the activities more to the outdoor. And yes, definitely the COVID-19 impacting us to adjusting our operation, adjusting our offering to the guests, and many things are changes in how do we operate and how do we serve the travelers today. I think it's a lot of changes has been made.
Yeah, so we can also say that this is a kind of like momentum for hotel industry also.
Exactly.
To actually, yes.
G20, how big is it? I mean, it's an honor to host. Bali has the honor to host it this year.
Yes, and also for hotel industry also to think of like Mr. Ida Bagus also mentioned, they think of like other way of promoting things, and then that we can say that as like a shifting, right? Shifting way of doing like a better maybe like promotions or that kind of things. So Mr. Ida Bagus, how is the latest figure of Bali actually gross domestic product?
Yeah,
Has it recovered?
Yes, like I said before, the opening border of international, it helped us a lot, significantly. Before the pandemic, perhaps the data of the occupancy is under 10, not even under 10, maybe under 5. There's some gainer, 0 point something percentage. And overall at the time, during the pandemic, it's about 7%. And now, after the international border are open, a little bit crawling, and I think about 45 into 50%. But with closing to the end of the year, we have the G20 is raising up the numbers, especially in the south of Bali. Right now in the south of Bali, perhaps the occupancy is around 75 to 80%. Before the event of the G20 is running around 50% south of Bali. Now increasing, crawling into 75%, 80%, and some hotels are booked for this event or even post-event. So this is a good thing. We thank you that the G20 held in Bali is not going to accelerate the recovery of Bali, but also for Indonesia itself. Whereas we are so rich with the destination among our archipelago, and we need to make the locomotive, the state of tourism, Bali, moving again. So by then it will be help the other island and help the other destination. So that's why this we thankful that the G20 did held in Bali, and we hoping this is going to be accelerate of the recovery of the Indonesia itself.
Right. Bali tourism does not only survive, Mr. Ida Bagus, but it will thrive, and it is showing, greater number day by day. Bringing me to the topic of the G20, the Leader Summit is taking place in just a couple of days. High anticipation in the air, Mr. Ida. How have our hotels complied with all the requirements, including the security details, the level of comfort, and just the extra boons that we can offer to our heads of states coming into Bali?
Well, I think the G20 is not beyond of the hotel security establishment. This is international, has an international standard, national standard. The protocol about the VVIP, about the head of the countries, it has to meet certain requirements. So from the last month, the police, their army, joining force around the street of Bali. I think this is the joining force are not only from the local police and the local army, but this is coming from the central government itself. If you see the shoreline of Bali, I think there are 13 of the war vessel around the Bali, around the shoreline and the beach area close to Nusa Dua, and not counting in the street how many the defense cars are running around, the police and running around. And also the government of the local government, in order to comfortness of the participant of delegates, they also issuing temporary regulation that people it can work from home again, like a pandemic again. So they want to reduce the traffic in the street, in the road area, specifically the area compound where the summit will be centralized. The road protocol like bypass are guarding by the police. Restriction of the people are moving using the odd and even uh, license plate, and the school are studying from home. So they want to reduce a little bit traffic on the streets in order to the conveniency and the safety and the security of all the delegates that coming all over the world from the 19 countries and one European.
All right, Mr. Ida Bagus, we will have to take a quick break now. Please stay with us. We'll continue the conversations in just a few minutes. So in the meantime, stay with us right here on TVR Our World. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Hello G20 here on TVR Our World, coming to you live from Bali, Indonesia.
Still joining with us, Mr. Ida Bagus Sidaharta Putra, Vice Chairman of PHRI Hotel and Restaurants Associations. Mr. Ida Bagus, you're still with us. So our next question is actually, what's next after this G20 summit? If there is any plan for the hotel sector?
From us, we want to, of course, comply with what the trend coming in for the future. The G20 is definitely a big boost for us. We want building trust again that people are coming back to Bali as a tourist destination as well as other thing. And for us in hotel industry, we will comply with all the trend and the technology toward what is that? The renewable energy, including the wellness activities. Everybody is so asking for the help right now from our product, from our services. So I think this is going to be highlight for us in the hotel industry, and promote the sustainability, including the social, the cultural, the environment, as well the sustainable and economic. So we already have the deepest construction of the economic in Bali during the pandemic, and I think we have learned a lot how to improve ourselves, how to comply with the world trending for the tourism in the future.
Right. Mr. Ida, Bali as a province, and in particular Nusa Dua as the surrounding that we're in at the moment, is no stranger to hosting high-level presidential events. But this time around, we have heads of states from 19 major economies in the world, including European Union. The G20, the Group 20, is another beast of its own, not to mention the beast, the very car for Joe Biden. We are expecting today and tomorrow the arrival of Joe Biden, the president of the USA, Emmanuel Macron of France, and maybe Justin Trudeau from Canada, and also the newly appointed Rishi Sunak of the UK, and also many other notable high-ranking officials, including Anthony Albanese, which Australians comprise of some of the most significant numbers of tourist visits to Bali. So this is a beast of its own, as I said. How is it different this time in terms of hosting these 20 notable presidents of major economies coming into Bali and all the representatives of observing countries?
Yes, the event of G20 is the biggest event in history of Bali, including the Bali tourism. And of course, like I said before, we've been blessing that the G20 are held in Bali. This is going to be a test case for us all up in Bali. If we can make this event successful with the incoming all the prominent figures from all over the world, this is going to be have a big blast, a big impact, and will be speeding the recovery of all Indonesia, all the region, perhaps in Asia, or the industry of the tourism as well, all over the world. With all of this figure, we do hope that they are impressed about our how do we execute the event and bring the good word, bring back to their countries. And of course, the countries like America, we miss the market of the American market. This is quite quality of travelers that we have. So that's why um, our mindset right now, not only the official, the government, but also the Balinese, let's make this event a successful. So when the successful event will be benefit all of us in the future of Bali, in the future of Indonesia, especially in our tourism industry.
Right. Mr. Idawagus, as is the case with welcoming big names into the country, be it presidents, prime ministers, celebrities, they always come with the so-called riders, requirements and conditions that we have to meet as a provider to welcome them. So have you received any words from your colleagues within the PHRI, the Associations of Hotels and Restaurants of Indonesia, of some of the hardest to meet challenges and riders that we have to fulfill? I mean, I don't need to mention all of the big names again, but Narendra Modi is here and he is known for the biggest of entourage. And Xi Jinping is going to be here as well from China.
Well, this part of the job, I think we have to comply with all the requirements, all the raiders that they're asking, and of course, like I mentioned before, let's execute this well. Let's comply with all the requirement, and let them to bring home the good word. So don't hurt them, don't disappointing them. I think. Yes, let's keep it among the industry about our hustle, about the difficulties to meet up all the standard, all the requirement. But again, our mindset is right now, let's do it. Let's make everyone happy. Let's make Indonesia coming back and Bali coming back again.
All right. You didn't mention any of the the things I asked about the riders. They are probably secrets and confidential. But that's all right, though.
Right here, are we keeping it?
That's right. These are private affairs. But thank you. We seriously hope that everyone echoes what you said. They will be coming home happy from Bali. Stephanie.
Yes. So yeah, we always hope for the better conditions, circumstances for every sector, and particularly for the hotel sectors as well. Yeah. So, Rahmat, you would like to?
Well, I think we have a few more minutes. Maybe just the final question from you, probably, Stephanie.
So, if you could tell us, actually, Mr. Idawagus, you know, we know that this G20 is like a very big momentum, but what will be like the next, perhaps like steps that hotel sectors will do? And can we actually claim that we are like 100% ready after also this G20 summit?
Yes, the G20 is set the highest bar for the standardization of doing the event, MICE, incentive, exhibition, and convention. And of course, if there another event, of course, it's more easy for us to make it successful. It's been the last. I mean, in the past, Bali has been host of many international conference like APEC, like a lot of event that had been held in Bali. But the G20, that's a higher bar. So meaning if there are similar event, we are more ready to provide, to execute it. Than counting the smaller event. Of course, we are with the experience right now, with the G20 experience. In the future, Bali are more experienced as well to host a big event or even bigger than the G20 in the future.
All right, so that is all the time that we have for these conversations. Vice Chairman of the Associations of Hotels and Restaurants of Indonesia, Mr. Ida Banggu Siddhartha Putra, we thank you so much for your time and your insights on our program, Hello G20. Thank you again, and we wish you the best of luck and all the success in the world in hosting and welcoming all the high-ranking delegates.
Thank you so much. Thank you.